Hi colouring friends, I hope everyone's been well. I actually had 3 small videos that I made, so I decided just to put them all into one video and just make them little clips that join together. So the first clip that you're going to see today is just a quick little video of the places I got to colour when I was away. So I just recently went on holiday to Broome. My sister lives there. So I went to go and visit her and her family. And they always take us to the most amazing and beautiful spots because the ones that only the locals know about. So we got to go to a beautiful fishing spot. I'm not a fisher myself, but I went there just to do some colouring with a view. And also we went to a beautiful beach as well. So I just took a couple of videos and added them together. Definitely, I'm not a videographer, but I tried my hardest to kind of show how beautiful the place was. The second clip is about me doing a background in Shooting Star by Trolle. I really stepped out of my comfort zone for this one and did heaps of things that I haven't done before. So I really enjoyed it and I really liked how the result came out. But what encouraged me to do this was I actually recently read a post in the community tab by Nico Simi Colouring, and she was talking about how you should follow your heart and step out your comfort zone. So I really thank you, Nico, for giving me that reminder, because you do need that reminder sometimes that not to stay too safe and actually give something new a try. And you'll probably be surprised by what result you get. And then the third video is me using this new splatter brush that I got from Liquitex. So it's a really cool little brush. It's made from like little plastic, like it's not like hair, it's like little bits of plastic. And it just makes a really nice splatter. So I have recorded myself using this one for the first time. Also, while I have the chance, I just want to thank all of you for watching. I would have never thought 6 months ago that I would have had the courage to actually start my own YouTube channel and share my passion with so many different people from all around the world. I really appreciate all the lovely comments and the likes that you guys give me, and also, of course, all my subscribers. I'm not that far off 700 subscribers, and I know it doesn't seem like that many to lots of you, but that number is a massive achievement to me. So again, thank you so much. And I know it's a fact that I do not have the loveliest voice to listen to, so I appreciate you all even more. Okay, I hope you enjoy the clips. Bye. All right, I've got to fix up this mess. So what happened was I did this image when I was away in Broome. You probably saw me working on the video that you saw at the beginning. But when we were doing it, we were at a fishing spot, which was like pretty dirty. Very pretty and beautiful, but dirty, and there was bugs, and it was really hot. It was like maybe like 38 degrees, super humid. And although you can see that beautiful water span at the front there, we couldn't go anywhere near it to swim in there because it's full of crocs. So you're just sitting up there looking at this amazing water, but you couldn't actually swim in it. So it was a very pretty view, but it was really hot. and I got dirty fingerprints everywhere around here. Everything was smudging. I made a mess. And instead of getting stressed about it, I just thought, when I come home, I can probably just erase it all. But I tried and it didn't work. It's still all there. So I'm going to have to do some magic or work some fancy stuff out to try and cover it up. So I'm thinking of maybe expanding these clouds out a little bit and using maybe some watercolor or some acrylic. I'm not sure yet. And then I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the top. Maybe also add some collage in. Just cover it all up. The middle's not finished yet. I need to use a lot of acrylic marker to fix it. The background, that was a bit of a problem because I did it once and I buggered it up and then I went over it again. You know how sometimes if you keep going over it, it just turns out to be quite muddy? And that's what happened. But in my head, I just kept saying to myself, keep doing it. You can fix that with acrylic markers at the end and you can erase all the dirty marks. Obviously, I can't do that, so I'm going to do the background. So I'm going to bring you guys on the journey with me. Turn my mic off. I'll do a voiceover after I've finished and we'll see what I do. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this disaster doesn't turn into a bigger disaster and hopefully I can do something a little bit interesting. So I decided with the background, I'm just going to use my Gansai Tambai watercolors and decided to do them in the similar colors that I've done the picture on the inside. I wanted it to blend in. I didn't want it to be so obvious that it's a background. I want to integrate it. So I just started by popping in that tealy color, and then a bit later on I'll introduce more of a magenta-y color as well. I wasn't being too fussy. I was doing it super quickly and not very tidy because this is the first layer of all the other things I've got to put on the top. So it doesn't really matter if it's a bit of a mess. You will see throughout this whole process that it turned into a bit of a mission. I just kept doing more and more and more, but really had fun and enjoyed myself, so that's all that matters. So just here, I'm just putting in that magenta color. In a minute, you'll see that I look at it and it's way too symmetrical for me. I don't like the way that all four corners are quite matching in color. So now I've just decided to put in that deeper blue just to add a bit of depth and to make that evenness that I hate a little bit uneven. I think it looks a lot better once I've done that. So I put that aside, and then next what I did was I cut a couple of shapes out just with some writing on them, and I just wanted to paint over the top. I wanted them to be quite see-through so you could see that writing underneath just to add a little bit of extra interest. So I grabbed out my Opera Pink, which is my favorite color out of my Paul Rubens neon set, and just gave it a really light wash. So later I'll be adding this, gluing these onto the page. So now I've decided to put in some collage. So I just went through all my collage books and decided to get some whales. I'm not sure which one would work. So the best strategy I have for that is I will just cut them all out, and then later I'll place them all on and see which one looks better. So now I'm back to my page and I'm doing a little bit of stenciling with one of my neon pink acrylics. I just wanted to add a tiny little bit more interest in the background. This once again will probably be painted over, so I wasn't being super fussy. I did notice, however, after I had pulled the stencil off, that the colour had kind of soaked into it and it isn't very opaque. So what I decided to do is I just got my white acrylic out and just added some of that in and mixed it with the pink just to make it look a little bit darker, and I actually think it looks heaps better after I did that. So just adding a few more, and I made sure I just put it to the right of the picture because, as I said, I don't like things to be even. So here I'm just grabbing those little collage pieces I made on the printed paper and just trying to work out where to put them. And once I've figured that out, I'll just glue them straight on. So here I'm making a few more collage accents to stick to the page. I've just grabbed a couple of my Neocolor 2s and I'm going to do a couple of color blends. After I've blended them and activated them, what I'll do is I will cut out some shapes from those blends. Once again, I try to stick to the colors that I've been using the whole time. So here you'll see that I'm activating it with a little bit of gesso mixed with some water. I wanted it to be a little bit more opaque, and then it also gives it that pastel-y look that I wanted as well. I wasn't using very good paper. I was just using scrap paper out of my tester pad. So you'll see it's not got the best blend happening, but that doesn't really matter for what I need it for because I'm just going to cut little shapes and you won't be able to notice. Now I'll just draw my little shapes on there, ready to get cut out. So now back to the page, I've decided to put this little cutie in here. I think he fitted really well. Tried all the bigger whales and none of them really fitted, but that one's really good because it actually looks like it's swimming towards the little pixie or whatever that is. Looks like they're having a little bit of a chat. So once I've put him on, I decided I needed to add something else. So I grabbed my white acrylic paint out, just did some mark making that looked a little bit like splashes. I decided to use my paint quite light and not make it really super thick. I wanted it to be a little bit translucent. So if I did go over into the magenta section, you could actually see that underneath as well. So I didn't know how much I was going to do. I was just marking around and playing and seeing what looked good. And in a minute you'll see I did do quite a lot. So there you go, that's all of them done. And as you can see, I did go over those little stencil marks that I made before, so that's why I wasn't too fussy about them being perfect. Now I'm grabbing those other little pieces that I cut out from the Neo colours and trying to figure out where they fit, and then in a minute I will glue them all on. So the reason I'm using that paper here is just to make sure everything's stuck down properly and it doesn't lift up. I always find that using a sheet of paper over the top is a better option. You can push really hard. You don't have to worry about smudging things around underneath. And also by this point, my fingers are usually covered in glue. So it's a much tidier way of doing it without getting glue everywhere. So now I had a good look at it, thought that something was missing. So I grabbed my white acrylic paint again. And I decided to do a few more of those little marks. So there you go, that's what I've done so far. I haven't completely finished. I'll probably have to put a little bit more acrylic marker in there, but it definitely is a lot better than how I started. I just got a new Liquitex splatter brush and I'm going to give it a go. It's the first time. It's kind of made from a hard plastic. So when it flicks, it's supposed to be a lot more tidier and you won't end up with paint all over you. I'm not the best at splattering with the whole tappy tap on top of the paintbrush things. I make a huge mess. So hopefully this helps me with that. So I'm going to use some gold ink, I think, because if you look at my picture, I've coloured it in with a watercolour which had like a iridescent, like gold inside it. So I want to match that with the gold. Just putting this paper down here so the splatters don't actually get onto my image. I don't mind if they go onto the side of my image, but I don't want it to get over the main middle part. And decided I better put some paper down because I make a huge mess, so I better be safe with that. So I've watched a couple of videos on how to use it, and it does say that you flick it this way, and it did give me a really, really good splatter effect. So I'm just going to take this template off because I do want some of the splatters on the outside just to come a little bit into the image, just so it does integrate with the image. It doesn't just like look like it's the actual background separated from the image. Also, after I looked at it, I did decide that we did need some bigger splatters and I just couldn't seem to get it from that brush. So I decided to get my pipette, just suck up some of the ink and then just pop it down like that. And I did it a little bit lower down to the page because I know the further you hold the pipette away from the page, the bigger the splatter is, but it's also a little bit uncontrollable. So this was a perfect size for me. So I decided a better idea would just be to just get it straight out of the pot. And I just went ahead and did a few more. Some of them did get a little air bubble in them, and that's okay, so I just popped it with that little pencil. And that's the end result. So I think the splatter brush is pretty cool. I really enjoy it, and I think I'll be using that now. The result's a lot better than using my paintbrushes and toothbrush.